Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to another tutorial video. I am the Ultra Farmer, and today we are going to be talking about weeds in Farming Simulator 25. I'm going to give you basically everything that you need to know with how to deal with weeds in Farming Simulator. I'm going to teach you about the different growth stages that the weeds go through and how they come about those growth stages on your field. I'm going to show you the different implements or tools that you use within the store to deal with those weeds at all different growth stages. And I'm even going to show you a trick that I use all the time on how to deal with weeds before they even pop out of the ground. So let's get right into it and let's start talking about weeds. Okay, so I'm just doing a quick flyover of the fields that I got set up. These are 3 canola fields that I have set up. Below us, you can see flowered large weeds. These are large weeds that are growing on this canola field. On the field right beside it, we have medium weeds growing. It's a little hard to tell, but there are medium-sized weeds growing here. And if I come down to this far field, this first field, if you will, from the left, there are no weeds growing on it. However, if you were to sleep through and get into your very first growth stage, there would be small weeds that pop through. And I'm going to be going through all that in a second. We're kind of going to go from large to small. So I'll show you how to deal with weeds when they're small, once they've grown through. But let's first start with medium and large. Okay, so when it comes to dealing with large weeds, there is only one kind of way that you can deal with large weeds in the base game of Farming Simulator 25. I'll just go through that again, that everything that I'm using today is going to be base game. If there are different mods or things that come out in the future for different platforms, this could change, but for base game standards, this is the only type of implement that you can use to deal with large weeds. And not just this one specifically, we're going to go into the stores. So I'm on PC, I'm going to push P on my keyboard. I'm going to come into tractors and stuff, and this will be at the top. We're going to scroll down to where it says weeders. Now, this has different implements that you can use that will pull out medium and small weeds. Right above that are sprayers. So in here, you're going to find a bunch of different sprayers. All of these sprayers will do both herbicide and fertilizer. We're not obviously going to talk about fertilizer today, but these are the different sprayers that you can use to put herbicide in that will deal with large weeds. So large weeds can only really be dealt with spraying them with the herbicide. This is the unit, this Mega 1200L is what I have hooked on the back of the tractor, but you can get various different ones. This is just an extra tank that makes it, that'll hold more capacity. These are trailer units, and then these are kind of the bigger self-propelled big units. You know, they're quite expensive, but they'll do wide spreads. This one will do 27 to 36 meters wide. That's this blue one up here. This red one will do up to 54 meters wide. So it really just depends the type of fields that you're doing and, you know, how much money you want to spend and all that stuff. One thing that I want to note real quick while we're in here, if you notice on each of these trailers or this big like self-propelled unit themselves, they all have narrow tires. If you go to wheel setup, they have the narrow tires on them. And that is because when you're dealing with weeds that are in a large format, they're generally, well, they're always on a field that has had at least a couple growth stages go through it. So it's not just on the very first growth stages. And what that means is if you're playing with crop destruction on, you run the risk of damaging your crops by driving over them. If you have narrow tires, that's supposed to, you know, counteract that. So I have a tractor here, and if I scroll in, you'll notice these have very narrow tires on it. And I wanted to use that for this explanation. So this unit, you pull up to your field. I have herbicide put in it. Actually, let me just turn the heads-up display back on so you can see. So I got 800 liters of herbicide in here, and if I turn the unit on by pushing B, you'll see it start spraying. And I'll go over these weeds, and as you'll see, the color will change of them, and they will turn, you know, from their color down to the gray, kind of withered. And I'm just going to kind of purposely miss a patch on the side here. Okay, so I keep going through, and that's killing all the weeds. Now, one extra thing that you can do, I'm just going to turn this off. I'm going to push F1 on the keyboard to open up this help menu. And as you can see at the bottom, there's kind of a blue staggered bar. And it says partial width. And that's telling you how much of this spraying unit is kind of active. So if I push Control Z on my keyboard, you can see this partial width is going up and down. Now it's at its full size. I'm going to tone it down to right about there. And what that's going to do is it's just going to limit the amount of spray. Notice there's just going to be a little bit of spray coming out of the unit that can get this small patch. That's just really if you're, you know, if you do miss a little spot or you only have kind of a small strip left to do on your field, it's a way to kind of save on herbicide. I figured I would throw that in there real quick. So this sprayer unit will deal with the large weeds. It's the only way to deal with large weeds. Now, that doesn't mean that this unit can't deal with the medium-sized weeds as well. I'm just going to fold it so I can make this corner a little bit here. Unfold it. This unit will also deal with the medium-sized weeds. If I go over this field, turn this unit back on, we'll do a little strip. As you can see, it is killing the medium-sized weeds. Now we don't have small ones growing up just yet, but the same thought process applies. It will deal with the small weeds as well. However, if you're looking for different implements to fix the large ones within base game, there is nothing. Okay, and so if you don't want to spray your fields, right, if you don't want to be using herbicide and spraying that on your fields, then the other way to deal with medium and small-sized weeds, rather, is the hoeing unit. So again, let's go back into our stores. Also, one quick thing, if you're looking for herbicide that I should have mentioned, if you want to come into consumables, this is where you'll find the different containers of herbicide. Both of these are herbicide. This is liquid fertilizer. There's no such thing as solid herbicide. Herbicide only comes in a liquid format, but that's where you find it right in there. If you want to deal with the other weeding units, obviously you come into the category weeders. And of all of these 5, the only one that will deal with medium-sized weeds is this hoeing unit. And you can see that it says in the description down here, hoes pull out small and medium grow weeds between crops, improving the field state. They can be used in the first growing stages of crops. All these other ones, the puller, these pneumatic one, the Super 7, and this large one, they'll only deal with small weeds. Basically, obviously, the difference is they go a little bit wider, need more horsepower. This unit will apply some types of seed, grass, oilseed, radish, and canola. We're not really going to worry about that today. We're just going to deal with weeds. But these are the different units to deal with weeds outside of sprayers. And this one will deal with medium ones. So it's the exact same thing. You come up to your field, drop it down, you grow across the field, and it won't kill the weeds, it will just pull them out of the ground. So it's kind of hard to tell when we're going this direction, but I'll just kind of go to the end of the field here and we'll spin around, and then you'll be able to see the color difference. It's kind of hard in the first grow stages, you know, because it's all just green. But once I spin around here, you'll kind of be able to see the different shadow. You see that strip that went down the field. This is a really great unit for weeds, especially, you know, the small and the medium-sized ones, because it goes fast. You know, it's 12 meters wide and it'll go 15 miles an hour across the field, which is really, really handy. Even on larger sized fields, this thing, you know, really motors across the field. So yeah, when it comes to medium-sized weeds, aside from spraying, this is the only other thing that you can use, and it's a really great option. Okay, I'm just pulling over to this field that doesn't have any weeds growing on it yet, and this is the trick that I promised you, and I'm going to show you right now. If you want to deal with weeds before they have even popped out of the field, you can use this hoeing unit directly after you've seeded a field. So if I hop out of this tractor and we come up to this field, it's telling us that the crop type is it's canola, and it's growing. The yield bonus is 97%, whatever, it's fertilized. But as you can see, weed is growing, and it requires a weeder to get them off. So you can't spray this, but if you come up to this tractor and you come up, and we're going to show this, I'm going to drop this down, I'm going to run a pass across this whole field. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sleep through into the next month, and I'm going to get a first grow stages to pop through on this field. And you'll notice that down this strip, even though there's a little bit, it seems like I missed on the side, I think, but there will be no weeds that are growing on this strip. So let's get to the end of this. Okay. I'm going to jump out, and I'll just even go on the field here. As you can see, it's now saying that there is no weeds growing. If I jump over to here, it still says weeds growing. But you come back over to here, nothing. So I'm going to sleep through a month quick. We're going to get small weeds growing on the other side of this field, and then we'll deal with those. Okay, and I'm just back here now. We've slept through a month. As you can see, there's a growth stage that has come through on this field, and the strip that we did down this, you know, our left side right now, or the right side from the other end, has nothing growing on it. And if we want to deal with these small weeds, we can use this unit just like everything else to cruise through, and it'll pull a whole bunch out. We'll just get to the end here. And then you can also use, obviously, the other weeding units in there that will deal with small weeds, which I have hooked to this other tractor. Right now I just have this little guy set hooked to it, but they're all basically the same. The only difference is obviously the horsepower that you need for them and the width that they'll do. These will do 6 meters wide. And like I said, those other ones will also seed a little bit. Not that really use that much, but if that's what you want to do and that's the way you want to play. So there you go. It's kind of hard to tell, but again, The small one is pulling it out. And if we want, let's fire this guy up just for good measure. If we can. Come on now. There we go. There we go. We'll get this guy pulled over here. And like I said, you can use this if you want to deal, if you want to be spraying herbicide. A lot of times I like to play the game and I try to do, I try to be a responsible regenerative farmer that doesn't spray chemicals on his field. That's just my way I like to do it sometimes, but it doesn't really matter. I'll show you that once this thing's unfolded, you can cruise across this just like every other size. And you'll notice that the weeds die underneath it. We only got the small set, or the small spray width on, but I can always push B, shut that off. Again, I'll push Control Z on my keyboard, get the width back out. And when I turn back on, now we're doing a big pass across the field. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you deal with weeds at every growth stage. That's all the different implements and tools that you can use to deal with weeds. Just depends how you want to play the game, the settings that you have turned on. Also, the final thing I'll show you, if you really want to deal with weeds and you don't want to have to deal with any of the pieces of equipment, just come into your settings, come back into game settings, scroll down, and you can turn weeds off, and then you don't have to deal with them at all. But that's it. If you guys have any other questions or concerns regarding weeds, make sure and put it in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that sub, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell so you can see any more tutorials and stuff that I'll put out with Farming Simulator 25. Or if you're just interested in checking out some of my gameplay series, I've always got a couple gameplay series going. It just depends when you kind of see this channel, but you can go through the homepage and look at all the different playlists of different games different farms we've built in the past and the current ones that we got going on. So thanks so much, guys. I am Ultra Farmer. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I'll see you on the next video.